Hi, this is Gary with MacMost.com. Let me show you 5 ways that you can add money to your Apple Cash account. Now, Apple Cash is Apple's system for small payments. You can use the Messages app, for instance, to pay people money you owe. Maybe you split lunch and you want to send them your half. Maybe somebody give you a lift and you want to give them a little bit of money for gas, that kind of thing. I know there are a lot of kids that don't yet have bank accounts with debit cards or certainly not credit cards, and their parents use this as a way so they can use their Apple phone with Apple Pay to pay for some things. But the problem is, how do you get money into an Apple Cash account? There are 3 or 4 ways that are widely talked about, but none of those really worked for me. Oh, they work, I just don't really prefer those methods. There had to be a simpler way to do it. And after just experimenting, I found an ideal way to do it that for some reason nobody talks about. It's not mentioned in blog posts. It's not mentioned in other videos. So let's look at the different ways I found to add money to Apple Cash, even the one that AIs for some reason don't like to tell you about. Okay, so first is the main obvious way to do it, and that is to simply take money from a card in your Apple Wallet and add money from there to Apple Cash. But there's a catch. It only works with debit cards. You need to have a debit card in your account. Credit cards won't work. And for me, I only had credit cards on my account. I really don't use debit cards. So I don't have one there, and it's just not a good way for me to add money to Apple Cash. But probably most people do it this way. What you would do is you would tap on Apple Cash in Apple Wallet, and that will take you to the Apple Cash screen. Then from there, you would tap on the 3 dots or More button at the top, and then select Add Money. And that's pretty straightforward and obvious, but it only works if you have a debit card. If you don't have a debit card, it's going to tell you you need to add a debit card. But if you do have one, you'll get to this next screen, and you can type an amount and then have that added to Apple Cash. You can even set this up to automatically do it on a schedule. Now, I just don't happen to like using debit cards, but if you're okay with that and you just don't have a debit card, another way to do it is to get a prepaid debit card. So this isn't tied to a bank account. You go to a store to purchase these. A lot of them are rechargeable. You can add money to them online. And some, not all, but some of those cards you can add to your Apple Wallet and then use to transfer money from the prepaid debit card to Apple Cash. It's a big mystery as to which ones work and which ones don't. But the consensus seems to be that if you simply call the issuing bank and ask them, they should be able to tell you whether it works in Apple Wallet and whether you could add Apple Cash using that card. And the thing about that is you could just literally take cash to a store and buy one of these cards with cash and then transfer the money to Apple Cash. So this would be the way to take cash and convert it to Apple Cash. Now, another way to do it, and this is actually a very popular way to do it when it's a kid with the iPhone and the Apple Cash account, and the parent wants to let them use it to buy things at stores and such. That's to send money using Messages. So in the Messages app, you could be chatting with somebody. You could tap the plus button, and then it brings up the menu. And one of the things there is to send Apple Cash. You can tap that, and now you can put an amount, and it will take Apple Cash from your account and send it to that person. So say a parent can take Apple Cash from their account that they added with their debit card or however else they did it, and say give $20 to their kid so they could buy themselves lunch. If you find these videos valuable, consider joining the more than 2,000 others that support MacMost through Patreon. You get exclusive content, course discounts, and more. You can read about it at macmost.com/Patreon. Now, the last 2 methods require that you have an Apple Card. That's that Apple credit card. So I've got one of those, and one of the things about it is it's one of those cash back cards. You get a really tiny percentage back with each purchase. So what happens to that money that you get back? Well, you could tap on your Apple Card in your wallet there, and then tap on the More button there, tap on Rewards and Offers, and here's where you can set what happens to the daily cash back that you get. And one of the things that you could have happen to it, maybe the only thing if that's all you have set up, is have it go to Apple Cash. So you might get a few dollars here, a few dollars there going into Apple Cash. So when you need Apple Cash, maybe to pay somebody who you owe for dinner or something, you can simply use the cash that you've accumulated there. For a lot of people, this is all they will ever need to use Apple Cash occasionally. And now we get to the final method, the one that for some reason nobody seems to mention, but it works great if you've got an Apple Card. Then you can do this. The trick is you have to open up Apple Savings account. Now, I'm pretty sure that if you have an Apple Card, you're eligible for an Apple Savings account. There might be a few edge cases where you're not. But you can open the Apple Savings account. This page at Apple's site tells you who can open an Apple Savings account and how to do it. You just do it through the app on your iPhone. I watched somebody do this the other day, and it just took them seconds to do it. It's just a very simple savings account. There's nothing special about it, and you access it through the Wallet app. And you could transfer money in there from another account and another bank, just like you would expect with any other savings account. You could also, of course, have your daily cash back go into that savings account. So even if you never add any money to it, it may start to accumulate a little bit, and then it'll earn interest on top of that. Now, once you have an Apple Savings account, you can transfer money from the Apple Savings account to Apple Cash. I don't know why this isn't talked about more. This is the method I greatly prefer and will use from now on. So you tap on your Apple Card there, and one of the things you'll see under your Apple Card when you have an Apple Savings account is your savings account there. So go into that, and it'll show you your balance and all of that. Now, you won't find a button here to transfer money from your Apple Savings account to your Apple Cash. It's not there. It's not intuitive, but you actually tap the Withdraw button. Now, the Withdraw button allows you to select an amount, and then you can withdraw from the savings, and then you could transfer to another account or transfer to Apple Cash. So while you can't transfer money from any other savings account to Apple Cash or from any credit card, including the Apple Card, to Apple Cash, you can go from Apple Savings to Apple Cash, which for a lot of people like me is the easy, straightforward, simplest way to add a few bucks to Apple Cash when you need it. Hope you found this useful. Thanks for watching.